Hello, welcome to the channel. My name's Joe, where I help you make better coffee and give you honest reviews. Today I have the Breville Barista Touch Impress, or Impress Touch, depending on, I don't know how you say it, but anyways, this is Breville's, I think their newest model next to I think they have an Oracle model that may have just come out, but this is one of the more recent ones. And it kind of does the Impress, the Barista Express Impress similarities with this, self-tamper here. And then it also integrates some of like the Barista Jet, the higher end frothing machine, kind of like the Oracle and some of the other machines out there. So this is one of the newer ones. I'm really looking forward to giving you this review. I've been playing around with this for a couple of weeks now, so I kind of know a little bit of the ins and outs of it. It's been a while since I've had a Breville in the shop, I should say. We used to have a Barista Express. That was very early on in the channel. We played with a couple of other. We played with an Oracle before. So it was really cool to have a Breville back up here and playing around with it a little bit. So as always in my reviews, I do pros, cons, make a shot of espresso, or maybe we'll do a latte, and then I kind of give you my final score. So I'm going to do the same exact thing on this one, and we're going to go ahead and get started on the pros. So the first thing about this right off the bat that I like a lot is how simple it is to use. It is not quite as scary or intimidating as some of those E61 higher end like Rocket espresso machines like the Apartamento or some of those things. It's pretty simple. You click on the drink that you want and it kind of walks you through what you need to do. So that is one really nice feature, and it's it's more of an at-home machine than some of those others. So it makes sense that it would make it easier for the at-home user, especially if you're very new to espresso. And that's what I would say next, is that it is great for the new espresso comer, somebody that's getting into these types of machines, because it has a automatic dosing setup here, and it can help you pull your shots without you really having to think. So when you pull a shot on here, if you grind, it comes out once it's dialed itself in, and it does that automatically the first time you use it. And then there's the option when you go in here to change the settings for a new batch of coffee once you put it in there, but it'll automatically dial it in for you. And what that means is it's pulling out the right amount of espresso with the right amount of grinds, like the right volume of grinds that come out. So the dosing is actually incredibly accurate. I don't think it's a grind by weight. It's technically grind by volume, but in our testing, we've found that this grinder accurately pulls out 19.7 grams, 19.8 grams almost every time. We measured it, I'll show you in the B-roll there, but it gets it like right every time. And if it's a little short, it'll have you grind a little bit more and then press this down. So it's really, really good, really seamless. And that's again why I was saying it's so nice for a new user into the espresso world. It tells you when it's done grinding and getting the right size. And with that, it also does this thing where if you're still on your set of coffee beans and you haven't redialed in, if the shot came out a little fast or a little slow, it'll come up on the screen and it'll say, this shot came out fast. Why don't you turn the dial and make it a little finer? So you'll go in here and it'll make a little clicking noise. It'll come up on the screen and you have a little bit different of a grind size now. So now it knows that you've done that, and it will try to pull another shot when you're ready. And generally speaking, it does a pretty good job. The only thing I'll say with that is in the morning with your first shot of espresso, maybe don't listen to its advice, because there's some old coffee in there. So that might pull a little bit faster because, all the CO2 and everything has kind of released from those grinds. Whereas, freshly ground coffee right off the gate is gonna maybe make it pull a little slower. So that's the only caveat there. But generally speaking, this machine really makes it easy to pull your shots of espresso. Another super nice thing is this frothing machine, and we've seen this in some of the other Breville higher end items that they make. This really takes a lot of the guessing work out of frothing milk. It has a temperature reading here. You could use your own pitcher, which I did in the video here. We did MHW Bomber sponsor. Use my discount code JV15 if you want discounts on their products. But we did use that, and it did measure it perfectly fine. You just have to make sure it touches this little dot there, little metal dot. It'll get it to the temperature that you desire. It will also froth the milk automatically, and it does a very good job of being able to get milk that you can actually pour latte art with. The only thing I'll say is that sometimes you might have to play around with it a little bit, but it is very good, very seamless. You don't have to think about it, and you're going to be happy with the results, I'd say 90% of the time. Another pro with the steam wand is that when you finish, you can clean the steam wand off, you pop it back in, and it automatically cleans the spouts by shooting water through it. So that's really nice. Yeah. Another great thing about this Breville is it comes in a lot of colors. It has 4 different colors. You can get the olive color, black, stainless steel, and I think red, or no, blue. So it does have a lot of options to match your kitchen or your coffee bar area. And it's a pretty attractive looking machine. It's not super big. It doesn't take up a ton of space on your bar. We'll give you the measurements up there. But yeah, it's a really nice setup for pretty much any coffee bar. Another pro is the water fill indicator. So when the water is low, you don't have to look back to see with the water. It will automatically pop up on the screen, which is nice. And then the other thing too is the drip tray has a very nice little opener thing that I can't really get to pop up right now, but we'll show you in a B-roll or something. It's like a red label that pops up and says you gotta empty this out, which is nice because you don't want that overflowing when you've gone to pull your shot of espresso, because water does get behind there just in the heating up process and cooling down process. So that's great too. Another pro about this is all the accessories it comes with. It comes with 4 different baskets. You have the single shot, double walled basket, double shot, and the double shot walled basket. And then it also comes with a brush. It comes with a little tool to clean out your frothing wand. And it also comes with your pitcher for steaming milk and stuff. So it's a lot of nice accessories, and it also comes with your cleaning maintenance stuff. So it comes with a couple of those tablets just so when you do need to clean this machine out, and it will tell you when it needs cleaned, but you'll have those tabs ready to go for your first couple of times. So like I was saying earlier about making this very seamless and easy to use, I just want to quickly go over these few settings. So you do have a default milk setting with the frother. It's really nice. You can click on it and you'll have these different settings here: dairy, almond, oat, soy. The thing to note is, all these different blends and stuff can be different. If you get a barista blend and stuff like that, even with dairy milk, if you have 1% or 2% or whole milk, you're going to have a little bit variation. So just play with the froth amount, and that will come up when you go to actually brew your shot. And then you have the intelligent brew setup. This is, like I was saying earlier, you're going to want to use this when you get your new set of beans in here, and then it'll do a couple of shots to get this dialed in for you. I do recommend doing that, especially if you're new to espresso. It's a pretty quick, seamless way to get it all dialed in. And then there's the intelligent dose. This automatically, like I was saying earlier, this does the grinding for you, where it uses the volume of the basket to determine if it's the right amount. So I would leave that on. I used it. I thought it was really impeccable. Like I said, it got the right volume, or I should say right grams of coffee every single time. It was very consistent. So yeah, and then you can customize drinks, and that's pretty easy. You could even just go in here and do that. If you want to do a new shot of espresso, you can change the amount, customize it, and then save it. So you don't have to go into the setting every time. But yeah, and then that's another thing too. Like I was saying, when you go in here, let's say you're doing the flat white, you can always play around with these settings on the fly. If you want a different amount here of espresso, or if you want your milk to be at a different temperature, you could set the temperature, the type of milk, and the froth level. Again, like I said, play around with it a little bit to get the froth levels right, depending on the milk you're using. Okay, now we're on to the cons. There's not a ton on this machine because it's actually a really, really great machine, especially for at-home use. but there are a few things I want to note, especially in this price category. Again, if this was a lot cheaper, I probably wouldn't even mention these things, but the fact that this machine retails at around $1,500, gonna have to talk about a few of these. So first off, it has a screen, it's always plugged in, it quickly turns on and everything, and it does technically say it's ready to go immediately, and it is, but that's the first con. The fact that there's no actual boiler on here means that this top part never really gets hot. And because the machine doesn't let you play around with the turn off times and everything, it can't stay on long enough, even if you could, to keep it on. So that's one kind of flaw. It's nice that it's ready to go like as soon as you turn the on button, but it would be nicer if you had some of this like get hot and stay warm for a while instead of having to push water through it and stuff like that. So keep in mind that your first shot of espresso might be a little cold and your next shot will be a little bit warmer just because the brew unit has heated up. It does a pretty good job at like managing the temperature because it is PID controlled, but it's something to note. On that same thing, there is no time to set. You could set the time on here, but you can't set it to turn on automatically at a certain point in the morning and then turn off automatically. And again, it's because they have this, thermojet instant hot, setup, but it's not great if you want hot, cups on top of here and to be ready to go right when you wake up. So that's one thing that I kind of think it's odd that they didn't include it in a machine like this. The Oracle has that. I know it's a dual boiler, but you would think that, at that price point, they should be able to do that. And even if it doesn't have a boiler, they should have this like be a warmer or something. It doesn't, like I said, it doesn't really get hot. So your cups sitting on top there don't really do anything. Another thing too with the temperature control, because of that temperature control, they try to make the minimal contact with the metal because the metal, when it's cold in like your first shot, it's going to sap a lot of heat. So if I pull this off, you'll see in here you have a plastic insert, which I'm not a huge fan of. Basically, boiling hot water is touching this plastic insert, and again, it's because it has, it doesn't sap the heat out of it as much, but I just don't like that idea. It's a $1,500 machine. Just give me a full stainless steel portafilter and then, make it get hot. The other thing I like about it, but obviously this is a con, is that it is the froth wand. It introduces air into this first, and then it starts to heat the milk without much air introduction. So what happens is you get like the frothy milk on top that happens, and then the just heated milk stays on the bottom. So you do really have to kind of like mix it up pretty good if you want to pour latte art to get it to kind of meld together and be able to pour a little bit more seamlessly. A lot of it too though is just playing around with that froth level, so just keep that in mind. Overall though, I would say that the froth wand is more of a pro than it is a con. It's really nice. But that's another piece of this that I wanted to mention is that, again, $1,500, I would think that you should be able to brew your shot and put your steam underneath this to be able to steam and pull a shot at the same time. It would save a lot of time. It takes about 45 seconds for milk to come to about 150 degrees, but it is a little frustrating in a $1,500 machine. Again, if this was $800 or something like that, wouldn't care, but at $1,500, pretty much every other espresso machine in its class has that capability. So, not a huge deal, but if you're doing everything all at one time, it would really save time to be able to do both those things at the same time. Because right at the same moment when you hit both those buttons, it probably would be done with both. But because of the efficient thermojet unit that they have in here, it really can't do both. So just keep that in mind. Kind of a bummer, but it is what it is. Another kind of con, I would say, because it doesn't give you the exact temperatures, is that you can get hot water in here, and actually the pour spout and everything is pretty good. It might create a little splashing, but it's pretty good overall. The downside is you can't actually get the exact temperature you want. It either has a high or a low. I don't really know what that's supposed to be at unless you take a thermometer and really test it out. And then the other thing is the brewing is the same exact way. It's set at default. I believe it's set to like 199, 200 degrees, but it doesn't tell you. And if you hit hotter or colder, it again doesn't really do anything to let you know what that temperature is. It's just hotter or colder. So it would be nice to like say maybe hotter, like 205 or 203 or something like that, but it doesn't do that. So kind of a bummer. But the other con I kind of have with this machine is that it doesn't show you the pressure at all. So I think it's pulling at around 12 bars, maybe 10, but I would like to know how the pressure is and like throughout the shot, because maybe your pump is starting to go bad or something like that. It'd be nice to know like what the actual pressure is coming out at and how much pressure is in that portafilter. So yeah, that's the only other con I have on it. Okay, so let's make a flat white today. I'm gonna go ahead and put it in here. I'm gonna hit the flat white button to make your drink. You start here. Okay, so now I tamp it, and what I do is I pull it down and let it wait, and I do that twice just to make sure that it's nicely tamped. Does a pretty good job. Sometimes you got to brush a little bit of the sides off, but pretty good overall. I'm gonna go ahead and pop this in. I'm gonna pour my milk. Oh, actually, I'll pour it after, so we'll do this. That's like almost like a ristretto level shot there, not a lot. This is more dialed in for a longer shot, but this should be all right. Boom. Pretty good. 27 seconds. That's actually pretty great. All right, so now we're gonna do the milk frothing. I like to make sure we get it on the edge here. One nice thing about this is you don't actually have to pour to this section. Like normally when you froth milk, you got to pour it around there every time, but you could technically go much lower in this situation because it doesn't require kind of the spin up that others do. Okay, pull this out, clean this up, put this back. Does its self-cleaning. As you can see, it does a pretty good job. It's for a flat white, that's pretty perfect. A couple of big bubbles, but overall pretty good. Perfect, look at that. Very silky. Not my best pour ever, but not bad. The froth is perfect though. Super silky froth. Let's have a quick sip here. That's good. Very good. I'm happy with that. Yeah, I like it. So overall, I'm actually a pretty big fan of this machine. With all the pros and everything on it, there's really not a lot to dislike. So I'm gonna give this a score, and I think for the average person, I would give this like I want to give it like a 9.1. It's pretty great. The only reason I'm giving it a slightly lower score is that I think there should maybe be a pro mode or something like that where it'll unlock some features like more precise temperature and some things like that. But overall, it's a really great machine. So definitely consider buying it. I'll leave an Amazon link below. It does help me out when you buy via that. And again, thanks for subscribing, liking the video, and I'll catch you in the next video. See ya.